yeah, baby.
It's still changing. It's figuring us out faster than we're figuring it out.
It doesn't have anything else to do. So we have a novel virus with a mortality rate in the low 20s, no treatment protocol, and no vaccine at this time.
That is correct.
From here on out, I want no one working on this except the BSL-4. Last thing we need is for this thing to walk out of the lab on the bottom of someone's shoe.
Hey Jim. Hey everybody. It's been a couple of weeks. But here we are. You may think I'm going to be painting the Z4 today. But actually, today, the city of Los Angeles, the city of Long Beach, and the city of Pasadena have all declared a state of emergency over the coronavirus. So I'm going to put a new battery in the X5. You might remember a couple weeks ago, I posted a video about some problems I was having with this beautiful off-road X5. And it was giving me a weak battery sign on the dashboard. And then it was doing all sorts of weird things. It was erasing the clock. It was erasing the trip odometer. It was resetting the presets for the air conditioning and heating settings. The outside lights would occasionally not come on when you press the key fob to unlock the car. The halo lights in the front wouldn't come on sometimes. So all of this is indications of a weakening battery. And I even had a 325 station wagon once, a 325 XI. I think it was a 2000 or 2001 maybe. Anyway, it was a wonderful car. I really liked that car. But that car even would, if you left the light on or something inside and it sensed the battery was going really low, it would just roll down the driver's side window. So I guess you could get in. I guess that would be pretty unfortunate if it was snowing or raining, but that's what that car would do. So this car, I was hoping that it didn't need a battery, and I charged the battery and reset everything and reset the clocks and all, but it's still doing it. And I just got the low battery warning on the dashboard again yesterday. So today we're going to put in a new battery. And I can't really hear very good. The last 2 weeks I haven't been doing these because I've had a little issues with my ears, and I lost some of my hearing because of it temporarily, hopefully. But if I'm talking too loud or too quiet, that's the reason. So let's get on with this battery change. These things are pretty persnickety. They take a pretty big beefy battery. This is the one I got from Pep Boys. It cost a couple $100, and it is an AGM, and I think what that means is it is there's no liquid. It's all held in fiberglass inside, and it's pretty much sealed. It does have a little burp valve, but it's pretty much sealed. So as it produces the hydrogen gases from when charging, then supposedly over on this side, I guess, hydrogen gas would be producing here, and then oxygen produces here, and they combine and form water and go right back into the electrolyte that's supposedly in here, if I understand how these work correctly. And this is a big battery. It's kind of like a deep cycle battery. So I've been looking at stuff online, and it pretty much sounds like these cars are a nightmare after you change the battery. Things like the steering sensor needs to be reset, and traction control problems, and the windows don't know where they are anymore, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to avoid that today by hooking this thing up to the jump start jacks under the hood and turning it on. And then the theory here is this will provide battery to the system. When I unhook the big battery, which is back here, nothing will get interrupted. The car won't notice that it's been disconnected from this battery, and my theory is that means none of the rest of the stuff in this car is going to need to be reset. And in order to prove that, I'm going to get in the car now and reset the clock and everything to the correct time, and that way we'll know that it's worked properly. If when the new battery goes in and I turn on the ignition, the clock is still set. Yeah, you know what really sucks about this whole coronavirus thing? Oh boy, guess I could clean up under here, huh? Is 2 weeks or so, the wife and I are supposed to go to Germany for two weeks. And one of those weeks we're going to be spending on a river cruise. So with this whole virus thing going around, it's seems like there's some possibility that if we go, we could conceivably get stuck in Germany, I guess, or stuck on the cruise ship, or I don't know. So I'm gonna have to give some consideration to all of that. So I'm gonna hook this car up. Let's see. Right here is a good place to hook my ground, and hook that one up, and then this guy right here is my positive. Put that onto there, and then turn this bad boy on. There, it's on, and now I can freely disconnect my main battery, and everything will stay energized. The battery for these bad boys, this is an E70, is underneath this plastic piece, and it goes all the way across, and I think there's 5 screws, one there, one there, one there, and 2 down in here. Well, in this case 1, so it looks like this one's already missing, so I'll pull this one and the other 4 or other 3 as far as this car goes, and lift out this whole plastic panel. Alright, so it's loose, but oh, it's been a few minutes, so I need to hand sanitize. Yeah, take that, virus. Alright, what am I doing? Oh yeah, pulling this thing. Let's see what we got here. Okay, good. It's got an existing AGM battery. That's going to help the transition. You know, they want you to, what they call, register these batteries. Apparently, the X5 and all BMWs of this general vintage have a computer-controlled charging system. And you have to actually tell it what kind of battery it has if there's a change, which we're not changing it. And then you have to tell it when a new one goes in, supposedly, so it sends the correct charge to the battery. The local private technician wants over $150 just to register the new battery. I'm going to see if I can do it with my Harbor Freight scan tool. And if not, I don't know if I'm going to spend $150 to register a $199 battery from Pep Boys. So, I don't know. Hopefully we can do it with the scan tool. So it looks like I need to pull that one. Looks like it's probably a 10. And then, of course, I'm going to have to loosen this to disconnect the negative side. And then it looks like there's some side clips here to loosen this panel. And then I'll have to loosen something else under there that's probably the same as this to pull the positive side off. And then I'll have to see where else. Oh, it looks like down in the back here, there's another bracket, hold down bracket like here. So I'll have to take all those out. But first, gotta be clean here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Take that virus. Yeah. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about traveling to Germany with all of this stuff going on. Would you do international travel? Or would you play it safe and cancel the whole thing? I kind of lean towards wanting to still go. I mean, oh, my wife, Shannon, has worked very, very hard to prepare everything for us and do all of the reservations and all of that. So it's really going to be a terrible shame to have to cancel. And it's a trip of a lifetime, really. I'm going to drive the Nürburgring. We're trying to rent a crazy car for a week on the German Autobahns. We're trying to get like an M8 or maybe a Mercedes AMG E73 or something like that. So we really want to, I really want to go, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, I got the 2 bolts out from down below, but there's another one right here in order to get this bracket out, which we need to do. All right, I got that bolt out. So then this bracket just lifts out of there. And I'm going to have to unbuckle this, but I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my negative side before I start playing around with any of this. It's good practice to always disconnect the negative side first. And the real reason, as far as I'm concerned, is when the negative side is away and pushed down so there's no way it can accidentally connect here again, then when you're working on disconnecting the positive side, if your metal tool accidentally touches some part of the car that's metal that's grounded, it'll spark like crazy and possibly cause a fire or who knows what. That won't happen if this is disconnected, because then there's no way to make a circuit. So it's always good practice to disconnect this and make sure it can't accidentally bump into the post while you're playing around with the positive side. Okay, I've released both of these little clips. You have to reach down and pull back this little metal tab that you can see on it with a flathead screwdriver, and that's the same over on this side. And then there's a little cover piece here you pop open, and that nut's got to come off, and that looks like a 13 millimeter. So that was a 13 millimeter. There we go. Let's see if this puppy comes up now. Yeah. All right. So now we have to open this up and disconnect this guy. Yeah, I might not have even had to take this guy off, but getting it out of the way probably doesn't hurt. Now I got to open that up, and that's the actual battery post. So I have to loosen this, and then this whole thing should lift away. All right. There we go. The battery is officially disconnected. So now I can pop up these handles, and oh, it's going to take 2 hands to lift this heavy thing out. Oopsie, almost forgot. One more step. On the side of the battery here, right there, is a little vent hose. So before you lift the battery out, you got to pull that out and be sure to put that into your new battery when it flies in. This is the battery that came out, and it's a BMW part, original piece. It's an 850 cold cranking amps, and it was shipped 2012. So all that is good news for us, I think. Our new battery is 900 cold cranking amps, so it's got a little bit more amperage, and that last battery lasted 8 years in this car, so that to me means that this car was definitely done at a dealership last time, or somewhere where they did do the registration. It wasn't just somebody slapped it in, because I've been led to understand that if I do not do any sort of registration on this, that chances are my new battery will only last 2 or 3 years. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try to do that as soon as I put this new battery in. And you might have noticed that I have my battery charger here connected to this brand new battery, and it's been on there for a while. And another thing that I consider good practice is when I get a brand new battery, I like to put it on my charger and put it on a slow charge, 12 volt slow, until it's barely taking anything, and just top it off real good, because it's probably been sitting on a shelf for a few months, and they tend to, well, I don't know exactly about these AGM batteries, but most regular batteries will tend to kind of discharge a little bit while sitting on the shelf. So I like to just top them off before I put them in. So before I fly in the new battery, I have propped this back out of the way with the weight of my screwdriver. I've made sure that this is as far out of the way as I can get without pulling too hard. It's got a lot of short wires connected to it, so you can't really move it very far. But I've made as much room as I can to be able to set the battery down into place without any interference. And something to pay attention to is this right here. This is a bracket that the end of the battery has a little flange on it that has to be underneath here. So when you put the battery in, just be sure that it's not sitting on top of this, that it's actually down here underneath this, because that's an integral part of the whole battery hold down system. Okay, I've got the battery set in place. Man, is it heavy. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the vent, this little vent hose. I'll show you when my hand gets out of the way. If I can find it. There we go. So this battery has 2 vent holes. Now, I pressed on this little elbow piece once it was slipping in until it kind of clicked a little bit. And that is going to be our gas vent. Now, the thing you got to remember on these batteries is there's a vent hole on this end and there's a vent hole on this end. We don't want this venting into this enclosed area here. If hydrogen gas vents into here, I mean, it's not going to be enough to probably cause a problem, but it's explosive. Hydrogen gas is explosive. So the thing comes with a little plastic cover right here. And if you pull the cover off, you'll notice cast into the corner is this little red thing. So you break that off and use that as a plug. I can't get it off. Hold on. All right. Yeah, pull that thing off and then use it in this hole to plug it up. Be sure to put it in as far as it'll go. And that way you don't have the battery venting bad gas into your little spare tire bay here. And our spare is in really good shape. I'm happy. So now it's going to be kind of a reverse. First thing I'm going to do is put on the, I guess the positive side here and put back together this stuff. So another quick heads up too is when you're tightening up these, they're pretty notorious for breaking. So you don't want to really go real hard on them. You just want to get them cinched down just enough to where the clamp won't move and you're good. You just don't want to do it too hard or you will break that. And it's got a little shape underneath which pinches the clamp closed, so it's not just like some bolt you can easily replace. Once it's broken, you're going to have to go to BMW, or I imagine you can order them online, but just be careful and don't over tighten those. Yep. Well, we're all back together. I replaced the missing screw, and that's it. Now the moment of truth. Will the clock still be on? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take all this out of here. I'm going to first turn it off and then disconnect my negative and my positive. and fly it out of here, and now we can turn on the ignition. Hey, you may notice here, I got a new phone. Yay. I got a Samsung S10 Plus. So, I don't know if it looks any different, but this is the first video with it, so we'll see. Okay. No, that did not work for some reason. Putting the jump start battery on there did not stop the car from feeling the battery change, because it's showing the traction control 4x4. Never even seen that one before. But okay, so I'm gonna have to do all the reset, I guess, on the steering sensors. So that means I've got to drive it and turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right, roll all the windows up and down, reset the clock. Yeah, 4x4 system. Dynamic stability control would malfunction. I think that just means that the thing is off. So let me put down the hood and we'll go for a little drive. Yeah, that really sucks that my little effort at a cool trick didn't work. I really thought I was going to be onto something there. Well, yeah, not so much. Let's see what happens when I drive a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the right, and then all the way to the left, and then back to straight. And look at that, the warnings went off. Hooray! Okay, so now I'm gonna roll down all the windows all the way, and then back up. That should reset all of them. And then of course I have to reset the clock and all of that stuff. And then I'm going to plug in my scan tool and see if I can find something about registering the battery. It doesn't like that I'm driving without a seatbelt. I'm just going around the block, man. Lay off. Oh, look at that beauty. Okay. All right, this is my cool little scan tool that I got from Harbor Freight. And I turned the ignition on without starting the engine and let this link up. And then I went to the menu page. It of course said my smog status was good. It had no problems. And you see at the bottom there, it says battery reset. So let's see what that is. Saved vehicle. Yes. So it says which one we have. And oh, I want to do manual or automatic. I don't know. I'm going to say automatic. Is this your vehicle? Yes. Battery reset. Battery replacement registration. That's what we want. One moment, please. Select and press. Start engine control unit. Might be running. Terminal 15 on. Next. Resetting. Hey! There you go. So $153 to do that? What a rip. This whole scanner, I think, costs like $150 at Harbor Freight. So that's how you reset your battery with the Harbor Freight scan tool. Well, that worked out pretty good. That, my friends, is how you replace a battery in BMW and even register the new battery with the car using a Harbor Freight scanner. I'm just tickled that that worked. I really had no idea if it would. I have never done any of this ever before, so it's all kind of an adventure finding the battery and seeing if my scan tool has that function and all, but awfully glad it did. Hey, I gotta go wash my hands and disinfect everything again and rinse out my ear. Really, in the comments down below, tell me what you think about traveling in the next couple weeks to Europe. Because I'm just not so sure how the way everything's shaking out here. But I really want to go. So, as always, thanks for watching.
Mataba is only spread through direct human contact. Now, you said that yourself, Sam.
I know what I told you, but now I'm telling you we're facing a new strain. It spreads like the flu.
Impossible.
Fine. Go to the hospital, check it out yourself. Go without a mask, you'll see more clearly. You got 19 dead, you got hundreds more infected, and it's spreading like a brush fire. You gotta isolate the sick, and I mean really isolate them, Billy. We gotta get everybody else back into the houses. We gotta keep them there.
We're doing that, Sam.
No, we're not doing it because I just drove through 100 people. And if one of them has got it, then 10 of them have got it. And if one of them gets out of Cedar Creek, Billy, then we're in deep fucking shit. And we're already in deep fucking shit.